The Jagged Alliance series is one which, despite being of my era, somehow managed to pass me by back in the day. As a huge fan of old school PC turn-based role-playing and tactics titles, I'm actually yet to experience the originals to this day. Rage marks my first time with the 23-year-old series, and I was genuinely shocked at how much fun this small spin-off managed to be. Jagged Alliance Rage is set 20 years after the first Jagged Alliance, pitting you and a few allies against an entire island ruled by a drug overlord and his crazed army. Upon beginning the game, you actually get to pick from a range of different individually voiced characters with unique characteristics, both positive and negative. It's a fairly substantial decision that the game does little to explain mechanically which you'd go for unless you've already played it before. After a short tutorial, you're thrown into the thick of things. Think XCOM in a jungle with survival elements thrown into the mix and some surprisingly fun online co-op. Jagged Alliance Rage is a turn-based tactical title where you're often outnumbered and outgunned. Thankfully, with a spot of stealth and some educated luck, you're able to turn plenty of hairy situations around. Players can approach each level exactly how they see fit, whether it's quietly and meticulously navigating around enemies, picking off foes one by one, or simply just going guns blazing. Rage does a good job at providing numerous tools and then leaving it up to the player to see how they want to utilise them. Your character can navigate quietly, moving a shorter distance, or run further with the risk of being heard. There's crawling to stay hidden, whistling to attract attention, and even an XCOM favourite, Overwatch, where you shoot enemies on their turn whenever they move into your vision. Upon killing an enemy, you can loot their bodies, whether it's taking their helmets, armour, medical resources or weapons, or alongside this there's numerous bits of loot and resources that are actually found throughout the game's environments. After each mission, you're taken back to the world map. It's here where you can choose which path you wish to take through the game's missions, along with the ability to rest and heal up between areas or repair your weapons, for example. The game actually does a pretty good job of weaving in some nasty survival elements into the mix, adding to that worrying weight on your shoulders feeling from being stuck behind enemy lines. Your character can actually suffer from infections or even get shrapnel in their wounds or be stricken with bleeding or just simply get thirsty. As a player, you'll have to micromanage these negative effects, ensuring that you don't let them get the better of you. From more simple things such as just boiling dirty water to quench your thirst, or finding that all-important medical kit that'll allow you to heal between missions, it's actually a pretty cool mechanic overall. Rage also features fully unique voiceovers for each of the game's characters, something which actually took me by surprise given the game's overall fairly low production values. That's not to say those voiceovers are particularly wonderful, but they do the job.
Now it is me, surprising you!
Where Rage really begins to shine is in the two-player online co-op. The game was clearly designed around this, and it's certainly a welcome inclusion for a genre which has oddly neglected co-op play over recent years, despite it being a perfect fit for it. You can play through the entire campaign with another player from start to finish, and I can't overstate that despite the game's numerous issues and flaws, we actually had a blast playing this cooperatively. Whether it was combining and experimenting with the tools on offer to see how the AI reacted, or simply just trying to hit that perfect stealth run in a mission, Rage is a ton of fun when played with a friend. The turn-based mechanics lend themselves pretty well to being played with another. There's multiple difficulties, characters and decisions that open things up for undertaking various playthroughs and challenges with another. Even when playing single player, the game actually asks you to select and control two characters straight from the beginning. It's clear that the developers intended for the game to be experienced with another, ideally. That's not to say the experience is perfect, however. Far from it, unfortunately. Jagged Alliance Rage is just a little janky. Visually, the game isn't all that great in motion, animations can look a little messy and stiff, the writing isn't wonderful, and the user interface is extremely clunky, especially when you're playing with a controller, either on PC or consoles. It's nice that the option's there, but it's the less than ideal way to play the game. We regularly encounter disconnection problems when playing online, regardless of who hosted the lobby, sometimes as often as every 5 minutes. whilst usually this would be downright unacceptable in most games, the issue was severely less painful thanks to the host just being able to save the game, rehost and reload with minimal effort, thankfully. Also, whenever a player enters a menu, for example whilst looting, the game pauses for the other player. I understand in theory why this is done, it just feels like there could have been a much better solution here. It leads to one player being in the middle of planning an action only to have it abruptly interrupted by the other player looting a body. It pulls you out of the interface and it makes you have to redo whatever action was interrupted. It's just not a particularly glamorous way to handle it. Honestly though, I came into Jagged Alliance Rage with fairly low expectations, knowing fully well that this was a budget title. I didn't expect much. Quickly however though, my opinion on the game completely shifted. We had heaps of both hilarious and fantastic moments throughout our time with the game, whether it was laughing at the glitches or just enjoying the gameplay itself. Admittedly, I can't say whether or not fans of the series will be happy with Rage. If, however, you're into other turn-based tactical games such as XCOM, you might actually be surprised how much there is to like here. Combat follows a similar flow to the aforementioned game, with that all-important risk-reward hit chance percentage, and you can even spend more action points to further increase your accuracy. It's a neat trade-off. Whilst the game absolutely has issues, it's still just downright entertaining from a gameplay perspective. The UI could be far better, the online cooperative mode could urgently use some quality of life improvements, bugs could be fixed, and the characters and story are almost completely forgettable. With some more polish and time though, dare I say, it could have even been one of the genre's better releases in years. There's a rough diamond underneath that scruffy exterior. If you spot the game on sale and have a buddy willing to shell out alongside you, there's actually a whole lot of fun to be had here. Jagged Alliance Rage is far from perfect, but it also shouldn't be slept on. Be sure to like, share and subscribe for more content like this.